So far in this Spade Kingdom War Arc, Tabata has been running this in a way where it's heavily focused on the backstories of our three main characters, Asta, Yuno, and Noel. Even though in Asta's case he's still a mystery, the foreshadowing of their backstories intertwined with the three main villains of this arc, the Dark Triad. The quick flashback panel we seen when Asta went berserk against Dante, Vanica and her devil Magicula responsible of Noel's mother death. And from what we know so far, the entire Dark Triad is responsible for the death of Yuno's family. And that's why today's video is mainly focused on Yuno. And for this video I'm going to be discussing why Yuno's magic power after the time skip has been quite underwhelming and why he deserves a magic power up, the importance of it as well. Now I already know that the misconception in the community is that Yuno doesn't work hard for his powers, everything is given to him, which is not true. I can understand because every time we see Yuno in a story, he is fighting and competing at a high level, and he talks about that he has been training for this new spell that he's been working on, and he does this new spell. But the most training we've seen from Yuno is when he was younger, when he was a kid, before entering the Magic Knights. It was established in the series early on that Asta and Yuno always trained together early on, especially since that Asta inspired Yuno to become a Wizard King as well. But you have people that even go so far to say that Yuno did not train to get his spirit die, even though it was already established in the series that Yuno has been perfecting his mana skin ever since the training arc where he did with Miraleona and everyone else. He perfected that mana skin, mastered it, refined it, and that is how he was able to obtain that spirit die form. But in the story it's clear, even with all these power-ups in the story, Yuno does not win every fight. In the beginning he lost to Mars. If it wasn't for Asta showing up and intervening with that fight and fighting Mars himself, Yuno would have lost his life. At that time, Mars was just too much for Yuno, he couldn't keep up. But one of the common things about Yuno is that every arc he always come back even stronger. Because after this arc we did not see Yuno for quite a while until the 8 shining generals of the Diamond Kingdom tried to raid the Clover Kingdom. Yuno was able to take out one of the 8 shining generals who previously took out a 50-man squad who was setting up barriers for the Clover Kingdom. Yami even talked about that the 8 shining generals are on the level of their Magic Knight captains, and it's said in the series that the Magic Knight captains have the magic power of over 100 mages. So this talk that Yuno is not captain level, and this is before Yuno had Spirit Dive and he one-shotted a guy who took out 50, is crazy talk. But the argument that Yuno is captain level, I would say that for a whole different type of video. But this routine of Yuno, every time we see him he is stronger after every arc. Another example of that is in the Star Awards Festival, when Asta and Yuno were both Rookies of the Year. But they always been relatively close in power, even though you can argue and say that Yuno was definitely stronger than Asta in the Elf Reincarnation arc because he had an elf boost, many amps in this arc. But Asta was not that far behind, he kept surpassing his limits every time we see him battle in this arc. But now, currently in the story, that gap is starting to widen, with Yuno on the opposite end and Asta is ahead. This time skip has showed us that Asta has greatly increased the power of his anti-magic, acquiring new spells for each of his swords and also the ability to fly now. We seen that Asta was so strong that he used Black Divider to slice an entire magical fortress in the Grand Magic Zone in one swing. Out of everyone we've seen so far, excluding the captains, it seems as though Asta has improved the most. But of course, he isn't the only one. We seen that Noel was able to use her Valkyrie dress in a crazy Grand Magic Zone while having enough magic to use Sea Dragon's lair to cover Mimosa and Fenrir and guide them in the Grand Magic Zone towards Asta. Mimosa also improved, she was able to use her healing magic to heal multiple people with rune magic. Luck and Leo also improved during this 6-month time skip because now they can use rune magic as well. All of these characters improved greatly during this 6-month time skip because they stayed in the Heart Kingdom to train with Spirit Guardians. A luxury that Yuno didn't have because he stayed in the Clover Kingdom, but he was promoted to Vice Captain. Now William did reveal to us that once the elves left their body, a little of their magic still remains within them. They're not as strong as they were when they were elf possessed, but they just have to learn how to control that power. And we see when Yuno fought one of the Dark Disciples, he was still able to use his Spirit of Zephyr and killed one of the Dark Disciples who can use up to 40% of devil powers. Which is cool and all, but we did not see anything new. He tried to use that same attack against Zeno, and Zeno was able to break his sword with his bone magic, not allowing Yuno to do anything, and we know after that, Yuno was just pretty much on the brink of death. It seemed as though Yuno really did not improve during this 6-month time skip. I wouldn't say that he's weaker than he was previously in the last arc because he still can use those same spells when he was elf possessed. But I think what it is, a character like Zeno is just way above his league. And it seemed as though he just didn't improve. While in chapter 243, we see Asta gain a new form of power using more of his anti-magic and cutting Dante, the leader of the Dark Triad, which we can assume Dante is stronger than Zeno, and Zeno couldn't even get a single scratch from Yuno. The importance of Yuno having a power-up in this arc and the reasons why it is extremely important is because of the backstory he has with the Dark Disciples. They killed the entire Grenbelior family, which is his royal family and where he's from, the Spade Kingdom, and Dante took over as their false king, while Yuno is the lost prince. Scratch that, he is the lost king. The Dark Triad is responsible of murdering his entire royal family, and the only reason why Yuno ended up at Hage Village. He would have been a prince if none of this would have ever happened. And from Ralph's magic, Yuno was able to see the memories and thoughts of everyone that was involved during the murder of his family and how he ended up at Hage Village. He knew everyone that was involved, and that is why when he seen Zeno, he spazzed out. But history is repeating itself. Now the Dark Triad has returned. Zeno came back with 2 Dark Disciples and slaughtered the entire Golden Dawn. All of them would have been dead if it wasn't for William, and only half of them were able to survive with his World Tree magic. And Yuno is putting the blame on himself because he believes as though if he was stronger, none of this would have ever happened. The Dark Triad is ruining his life again, and this is why I truly believe he needs a power-up. Now, a statement from Raya about Yuno, he talked about that in terms of sheer native talent, he might actually surpass Licht. And we know that in-game Yuno, from that statement alone, we know that he's going to be crazy powerful. He's going to surpass Licht and Lumiere. But in terms of new magic spells, I would like to see Yuno, especially in this arc, to gain more power from his Spirit Dive. Instead of that crown being half a crown, make it a full crown, just like how we've seen more of anti-magic energy from Asta when he went berserk mode, and we seen that he grew a new horn while he was fighting Dante. Yuno has the ability to generate and absorb magic within the area because he's so powerful and a genius at controlling mana. That is how he was able to create his spirit sword from absorbing the magic from Licht and Lumiere, and while having the child of Licht in his body. I think that when he increases the power of his Spirit Dive and that crown becomes a full crown, it will increase his all overall stats, his speed, durability, his strength. And since we know that Yuno is really good with Mana Zone with his Spirit Dive form, just like Spirit Hush Dance or Spirit Storm Mana Zone, I would like to see Mana Zone with Spirit of Zephyr, where now he can just create and summon and send out many swords within different parts of different areas with the mana control in an extreme fast rate. I would like to see that. I think the way this arc is shaping up with heavy focus on Yuno's backstory in the Dark Triad, he deserves this, especially since the gap between him and Asta is starting to widen because Asta is getting more powerful in this arc. Yuno deserves it as well. But, that is just my opinion on this. Comment below, I want to know your guys' thoughts, and if you are new to this channel, subscribe with notification bells on. If you enjoyed this video, leave a huge like. Join my Discord, that is in the description. Follow me on Twitter, that is in the description as well. Again, like, subscribe. Guys, take care of yourselves, have an awesome life, and I'm out.